Hello, Homestead. I'm Mr. Giglio, and I want to take just a few minutes of your time this morning to talk about September 11th, 2001. 19 years ago, there was a terrorist attack that happened on our shores, and it was arguably one of the worst days in American history, at least in my lifetime, and many of our adults who are here on campus. But what we also realize is that it happened 19 years ago. And so all of our students weren't even alive when this happened. And so you may have only heard about this in news reports or in history classes. But every year here at Homestead, we do take a minute to honor and respect what happened that day and after. While there was a lot of terrible things that happened, there was also a lot of amazing things that grew out of that day. And so I want to take just a minute to talk about that, if you don't mind. Um, so again, just to sort of those who may not have as much understanding as some of the others, there were about 3,000 people who lost their lives on this day. And you may recognize this picture as one of the main events that happened on that particular day. But in total, there were 4 airplanes that were hijacked with intended targets around the East Coast. And so 2 of those planes were hijacked and crashed into the Twin Towers here, which were very iconic buildings in the New York skyline there. Another one was crash landed at the Pentagon. While it didn't inflict as much damage as the two did to the Twin Towers, it did create a lot of damage and people lost their lives there too. A fourth plane actually was forced down in a field and crashed in a field in Pennsylvania because the occupants figured out that the plane was actually probably headed for the White House. And they chose to fight and take down the terrorists and the plane rather than allow it to inflict more damage on our country. Um, Obviously, horrible events. This picture, if you were alive at that time, still probably sends shivers down your spine. Um, but today, where these buildings once were, and in the other places as well too, there is a memorial that exists. And I had the pleasure to actually go and visit this last year. And it was a very moving place and a very, very moving event. And I wanted to share with you one of the things that I saw there. This is a staircase, and it's called the Survivor's Staircase. And of all the things in there, this was probably one of the most moving for me. If you can imagine, this was the last structure that was visible and standing after the buildings at Twin Towers fell down. And which is pretty amazing, thinking when those 2 giant buildings came down, this is one of the things that remained standing. But the other story behind it is that actually hundreds of people were able to escape from the building before it collapsed, or as it was collapsing, because it was an outside staircase. And as you kind of see this picture down here at the bottom that's on the plaque, there was actually an awning over it, like a roof over it. And so some of the falling debris was able to bounce off of that and not hit the people that were walking on the stairs. And so when people saw this and realized the importance of this staircase, there was a big movement to save it and to preserve it and then move it into the memorial here. And the thing that really got me is I thought about the people who actually built this staircase. Probably an average construction crew of folks that, were building with cement and rebar and, thinking this is just going to be a stairway where people kind of go up and down. But it actually ended up being a life-saving tool. And it was built so well that it still survived. It was one of the only things that survived. And you can see it's got some damage to it, but it's still there. And that there are many people who owe their lives to the people who built these stairs. That when I think about these stairs, I also think about the work that we're doing here at Homestead with our advisories on anti-racism or sexual harassment. We're trying to build something that is a safety net that will help save lives or improve people's lives. And knowing that, while there may be grander structures to build and better things and that look more amazing than a set of concrete steps here, these steps were extremely important, and they did their job, and they did more than that. And so, when we think about it, our words, our actions, and our work truly do mean something. And you can mean it to be something positive, or you can mean it to be something negative. And again, while they built these stairs, I don't think they meant it to be a safety escape route, but that's what it ended up being. They did such a good job on it. So I want us to kind of think about that as we go through the day and go through our year here. about building a staircase, building a safety net for people. And again, thinking about how much your words, how much your actions, and how much your work could be important to somebody and could help them. And so as we're going through life, one way to honor those who lost their lives on this horrible day 19 years ago is to, try to be a survivor and to help those around you and to provide shelter and safety. So thank you for letting me have a few minutes here to take your time. I wish you a fantastic day, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing, and thank you for the teachers for allowing me to take a few minutes here. So thank you, and take care.